Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. So today I'm making a kind of impromptu little video that I hadn't intended to make about a game that I hadn't intended to make a video about really. I suppose I would have done at some point, but not particularly in my mind at the time. But it's a game I picked up on PlayStation in sale not that long ago, about a week and a half ago, called Pathfinder Kingmaker. You may or may not have heard of it. It's a sort of tactical turn-based. It can be real time and pause, but it's that kind of game, turn-based really, I think. It's a fantasy game, if you don't know about it. It's sort of based on, and don't quote me on this, but it's kind of a Dungeons and Dragons-y kind of game. I'm not familiar with all the lore of that, or all the world of those things, but it's that kind of game. And I like turn-based games, as you know if you watch this channel. So I thought, let me get it. It's not a new game, I think it's about 4 or 5 years old. And I thought I'd get it. And I have a lot of thoughts about it. I'm not doing a demonstration. It's a very complicated game. It's a very long game, and I'm certainly not doing a video of how to play or what you should do or anything like that. I try to always do videos, especially games that I'm playing at the time, when I'm not just making an opinion of the game itself, to try and explain a game from the point of view that I don't think I'm anywhere near the greatest gamer in the world. I'm not even near the halfway level. Obviously there's games that I play a lot where I'm relatively okay at them, but I wouldn't say that I'm anything near the greatest gamer. So I always do videos from the point of how I would look at it if it was somebody else who wasn't that good at it. So this game is difficult. When you start, it sets up relatively simply. There is, I've seen lots of videos, because I looked at them before I bought it, tutorials about how to set up your character and the different ways you can do it, which I'm not going to go into. There's loads of videos about it done better than I could, people who understand all the systems, but you don't need to. It's pre-made and you can kind of just follow, like click, 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 and just go along with one. I would advise you to kind of do that when you start. But apart from that, you can make, well, I made one in a different playthrough, not in this playthrough. I did a little bit in this playthrough, but I did another playthrough and started off with and it was fine. So that's not difficult. If you know anything about fantasy games, turn-based games, tactical games, character creation, it's not that difficult. There's some things you won't understand. There's some things where there's different character paths and gods you can follow and abilities which you won't quite know, but you know, you can just pick some and then you can do it again next time if you get through a few bits and you find out you don't like it. So it's not undoable, but like I said, you can just click, click, click through and pick a kind of ready built kind of character anyway. You can name them as well or anything like that. So my character in this is Ariana. But anyway, out of those ones on the side. So first thing is, it's a game that starts off where you think it's going to be quite simple, but it's kind of not, for lots of reasons. So the first thing I would say if you're a new person playing this is play it on casual. I started playing on normal because that seems to be what I thought was what I'd normally do. And what happens is, although it seems all right at first, you get into these situations where you're in long ongoing battles, and what happens is all the levels in this, all the dungeons, it's a huge map, but each area, each dungeon has multiple enemies. Sometimes it goes on for a very long time, and although you might be okay to kill some of the enemies, what will happen is you'll run out of healing potions. You hardly ever find those, by the way, or other potions or things you can use, spells, weapons that you can throw, like grenades, but they're like acid grenades and things, lots of different things like that. But you'll gradually run out and run out and run out, and you'll lose health and health and health. You can only heal by going to a campsite. You can make campsites sometimes in these areas, but you can't rely on it. If there's enemies nearby, you can't do it. You also need camping provisions to do it. Unless you're outside, you can find them. So that's complicated. So you'll think, yeah, it's fine, but you won't manage to do it. I started this playthrough, which I've been on for about a week, on normal, and I turned it back to casual, which you can do during a playthrough, which I would advise you to do, unless you're very, very good at it, because what it is you'll end up being really frustrated if you're going through a very long dungeon. It's not exactly a dungeon, they're like cave systems or a market square, and you're going through lots of numerous enemies that keep coming in waves or in different areas, and you'll get annoyed and frustrated, because I did. Think XCOM and think worse, where you're getting killed and you're not quite sure why, because it's very complicated. It's hard to master all the systems, it's hard to master all the damage. This game works on dice rolls of damage, and that's hard to master if you're not used to it, and I'm not. And so you'll get annoyed and frustrated, and it's a shame because the game's good. So I would advise you to dial back, at least if you don't start on it, pretty quickly to casual. That's the first thing I would say. And also anything else you can drop down a bit in the difficulty levels. I'm not sure if I can do it now, but yeah, okay. So you've got, I think I'm on a custom difficulty in this, but you've got Death's Door, which is like permadeath kind of, and you've got Companion's Wrath. I didn't use that, but I remove negative effects, which is whatever it might be, blindness, poisoning, whatever, when I rest. That's just a simplistic thing. I'm not going to go into all these. Damage to party you can drop down from what it is. I'm sure I've dropped it down. Enemy difficulty is weak is actually what it started on, and they were still quite difficult. And you can change all these things. And like I said, there's a lot of things. There's lots of guides online of how to do that. But basically, dial it back to where you're comfortable. If you start it again on casual and you find that you're getting killed too quickly or you're running out of stuff, drop it down, drop some of the other little tweaks down. Because once you get to the level where you're happy going through these areas and you're killing most things, it's actually really fun. It's a really fun game. You start off with, like, I'm not going to do any spoilers, and this is very early into the game really. It's taking me a long time to get here. There's a lot of characters, and you start off with kind of like 4, and then you can pick up others or send some away. I'm sure there's loads more in the game, but at the moment I've got 6, and you can only take you and 5 others with you at any point anyway, and I think I've got 7. I've got some guy that I left back at the base. It's not a base, it's a trader's post, but that's where you go with all your supplies, and that's where your guys wait around to be drafted or be used. So you get 6 characters. Again, if you go to some of the areas, there's loads of different encounters on the map. If you've got 4, and I don't know if it depends on what 4, but depending on what your own character build is, of course, you might struggle. But once I think I got a 5th one, and then more recently I got a 6th, and it makes a lot of difference as well when you've got extra characters. Regardless of who they are, there's one more person to be killing, sort of like an XCOM thing. The more characters you've got alive, the more the enemy can't kill you all at the same time. But yeah, it definitely makes a difference having extra characters. And like I said, once you actually get into it, and once you work out how to get it to the right level for you, it's a game worth pursuing. There was a few times in the playthrough I've been doing for the last week where I thought, I'm going to quit this, it's just annoying. And I think at least one time I signed out of it because I was just getting frustrated. But I stuck with it because I was enjoying the combat. The characters are fun, they're nice, they all got voice things. Now I'm enjoying it because I've got to a point where, yeah, it's I have to plan it a little bit, and people do get killed if you hit the wrong sort of enemy. You can get outnumbered, but I can do it. I'm doing it in turn-based. You can do it in real time and pause, but I don't do that because it's not something I'm used to in any of the games I play. So this is like my warrior character, and so this is turn-based. So you just go up, and these are bandits, so they're. And you do miss, so I'm playing it on relatively simple, and you still miss. This one's a kind of archer, and she throws acid, so she's the one I just got recently, and she's very useful. They're all just, and even the characters are the same, which makes this game really interesting. I can't speak for every game, but lots of games aren't like this. Like she's a rogue archer, and they've all got like one main character trait, and then they've got another thing, so they can be a rogue swordsman or a shaman, mystic or something. I'm just making up stuff, but she's a rogue archer, so they've all got slightly different things, different things they're combining. That's my character actually, that one, so I'll just shoot this guy with a crossbow, and you can see it sounds nice, and they make a little noise, and these are bandits, so we should be killing them relatively simply, although she's not, but she's not the highest damaged one I've got, to be honest. And the rest of it plays out like turn-based games. If you've ever played turn-based, once you start doing this turn-based, it plays out. That part you'll get, the move, fire, what's in your range. That'll be something that you can understand. This one's the one. This is the second one. The first one I picked up as a new character after I had the 4, and she's good, but she missed. Oh, actually, it's this one. No, but anyway. But yeah, it's a game and that's part of why I want to make this video suddenly. It's a game that is really fun. It's got a lot to it. There's a lot to like about it, And the only reason you won't like, obviously you don't like turn-based games or this kind of game or fantasy games, you won't like it, but assuming you've bought it or you'd like to buy it, the only thing you need to do is dial it back to where you're comfortable, how you feel confident in playing it, to the point where you feel is a fair challenge for you. And later on, and I will probably do this, when I'm more high leveled, I will probably put the difficulty up back to normal when I've got a high level. But early on, it's just so easy to be getting killed all the time and getting annoyed. And also I suggest you save it pretty often, because you will not just get killed, because we're not on permadeath, so you'll sort of come back, but you'll get all your parts, you'll get so injured you can't really do much. So again, I would suggest you save it quite often. But yeah, like I said, the one thing about this game is I would recommend it. It's lots of fun, it's really good, it's a huge game, it's obviously got tons of content, but you just need to, the only thing you need to know before you start is it's nothing wrong with, you've bought the game, I bought the game, there's nothing wrong with doing it on, there's even a story mode I think, which is even more simple. Do it on casual, do it on story, whatever you feel comfortable with, you spend your money, you play it how you want, and then later on you can always knock it up when you get to level 5, level 10, level 20, whatever, you can knock it up to the next level up and play it on a slightly difficult level, more difficult level. Anyway, that's Pathfinder Kingmaker. Like I said, I hadn't had any intention of making a video about this until I started playing it, and I just thought people will either not buy it because they'll just look at it and think or they'll buy it and, like I did, within the first few hours, first day, they'll get annoyed and frustrated and they'll want to give up. And unlike some games, the frustration in this game isn't really the AI, it's not the game, it's not the characters, it's not the world, it's just that it seems difficult and annoying, and once you work out the balance and how to balance that off, it's not. Anyway, thanks for watching Guessagaingaming. Till next time, take care.